The views and opinions expressed on the Veterans in Politics radio show and podcast are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.
Back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Patrick Llewellyn with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Before we get into a rant, just wanted to tell everybody who the guest is going to be. Lois Tarkanian, Las Vegas City Councilwoman, Ward 1, and Chris June Kiliani. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Clark County Commissioner, District E. And she's also candidate for Las Vegas mayor. We're going to have those two folks in studio shortly. Just wanted everybody to know that, just an announcement, we are doing a 2-hour fitness marathon for Andrew Felix, who's the young boy that's dialing from synovial sarcoma, which is a rare form of cancer in boys 17 to 20. They're doing that at the Gold's Gym. The Gold's Gym today at 3:30 p.m. The Gold's Gym is located on Flamingo and Sand Hill, and the host of that is fitness instructor Miranda Childs. So if anybody wants to go down to that and support Andrew Felix, go on down there. And Jim, what's up, baby?
Not much, Steve. How's it going?
It's going good. What's your rant today?
Hey, I think it's going to kind of lead into your rant a little bit. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
quite frankly, parking downtown just sucks.
Yeah, it's horrendous, huh?
You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. Oscar Goodman has done a good job at revitalizing downtown. It's not the dump that it used to be when right after Jan Jones left office, but. You know, we went to First Friday at Stoney's last week. Uh-huh. Well, I didn't realize, but there's another First Friday,
right,
where young people come to exhibit their artwork, and some of them have bands.
The one in downtown Las Vegas.
Yeah, downtown. And from what I understand, there was pretty much almost a riot last week.
Because everybody got their cars booted or towed.
Yeah, over parking. I guess there was an empty lot that everybody always used,
right.
But for whatever reason, this time, the owner of that empty lot, after everybody parked there, decided to put up a no towing sign after people parked there.
That's ridiculous.
So then people were wondering what's going on, and all of a sudden, I believe it was Quality Towing or another towing.
You know that Quality Towing makes a lot of money from
yes, they do.
The towing industry is a total racket.
Yeah,
total
and plus
racket.
The kickback from the property owner
exactly.
that put up that sign.
So these poor people are getting their cars towed, and there was almost a riot that happened down there.
Good thing my car wasn't there, because there would be a riot.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my thing. You know, we're going to revitalize downtown. I had brought this up to Commissioner Larry Brown in the primary when he was running. I said, you know, this is great that you guys got this new Metropolitan Police Department complex over on the corner of Alta and Martin Luther King. You guys got Zappos coming down there. But who's going to fix the parking? Because if I can't park, I'm not going down there. Remember when we were at City Hall, when we did the mayor endorsement panel interviews?
Yeah.
How far did I have to walk that night with that stupid bag with the camera in it and everything?
I know.
It took us forever.
Because we didn't want to pay the park in the garage.
Yeah, exactly. So my thing is, you know what, if you're going to, you have to do something about the parking.
And
so
who wants to run to a meter every hour?
Exactly. So, you know, maybe that will be a question I'll bring up.
You know, speaking of that, I got ticketed in that garage all across from City Hall. It cost me $20.
Really?
Yeah, I was pissed off.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's my rant. You know, you want to revitalize downtown? Hey, let's get some parking down there, because if I can't park, I'm not going down there.
Yeah. You got any rants there, Patrick?
Well,
all right, that's enough, Patrick. Go ahead.
I was just thinking the price of oil, just out of control. And then they had the oil execs on sitting in front of a congressional panel this week as they reported the top 5 oil companies reported their earnings last week.
Uh-huh.
$25+ billion.
I know those oil companies are getting rich, and you know what? That raises the price of food.
Exactly.
Everything
it raises
gets
the
raised.
price of everything.
Everything.
Everything has to get here.
We need to go to solar energy big time. I'm telling you. I need to pee in my gas tank and get that thing moving instead of going to the Chevron.
Okay, Steve, you've been watching too many Mad Max movies. Come on now. This isn't Waterworld.
But I have two rants, and my first rant is you know the highly heated North Las Vegas municipal judge race, Department 1.
Catherine, right?
Catherine Ramsey and
Marsha
Kimball Sims.
Right.
But you know what? I put out a press release letting everybody know the decision because Catherine Ramsey apparently won her ethics violation against Marsha Kimball Sims. That Marsha Kimball Sims violated Canon Rule 4, which is unfairly and knowingly and willfully misleading the public about that she is currently a pro tem.
Right.
So I just put that out, let everybody knows, and everybody knows what's going on with that. Not mention anything else. And then I get these nasty phone calls from the Marsha Kimball Sims camp, and I don't know if somebody named Wendell who doesn't want to put his last name on the piece of email he sent me, tell me that I need to get it right, the record is wrong. So and then
So okay, let me stop you real quick. The record is wrong, you didn't get it right, but didn't Catherine win?
Yeah, she won.
So is he saying that the court is lying? That the court is incorrect?
I guess.
And she wants to be judge.
Yeah, I guess.
I just want to.
They can't read the decision.
I'm kind of confused.
I don't want another Elizabeth Halverson on the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
who wants another Elizabeth Halverson?
Yeah, I don't think anyone does.
But anyways, they posted on Veterans of Politics Facebook site 17 times the same thing. So isn't that a little bit childish?
Yeah.
So guess what I did? I sent out another press release,
right.
and I included the link to the decision, and my phone didn't ring this time because now they're saying, "Oh crap!"
Right.
Oh, how could I dispute that now? So I put the link to the decision without even mentioning anything. So let the public go and link on to that decision. Then they'll know exactly what's going on with that. Catherine Ramsey does have 25 years legal experience, and Marsha Kimball Sims violated Canon Rule 4, and also Rule 4.1
right.
A11, which engage in unfair election practice and knowingly and willfully misleading the public. And up until till now, she has not changed those signage that she has posted.
Well, and the thing is that okay, she could easily diffuse that situation by just saying, hey, made a mistake, change the signs.
And guess what they did? And guess what she did? She called, left me the voicemail message and said to me that, well, I know that you had those gun charges and you were arrested. Again, what does gun thing on me? But for Marsha Kimball Sims, if you're listening, like I left you a voicemail, those gun charges were dismissed. And being an attorney, you got to understand the difference between being arrested and being convicted.
She seems like she might be kind of
vindictive.
I'm not so sure I'd be comfortable with a vindictive judge.
I would not like a vindictive judge sitting on my bench. I'm sorry.
And vindictive judges.
No, and Marsha Kimball Sims strikes me as a very vindictive and holds a grudge type of judge or type of person that wants to be a judge. So people out there, vote for Catherine Ramsey. She'll make an excellent judge. She's approachable. She's not vindictive, and she'll get the job done right. And if you want to see that interview, go to veteransinpolitics.com. The interview is on there when we did her endorsement. And, I wasn't going to mention this one at all because, last week I didn't mention anything about Laura Davison.
Right.
And I kept it quiet, and I was going to keep it quiet again. I wasn't going to mention it at all. But, Laura Davison had a TPO hearing against me.
Yep.
And she lied to Conrad Hafen, Judge Hafen, about this gun thing. Everybody's got me with guns for some reason. And she lied about it, and I had to clarify it, although she had no proof. But she's trying to use a TPO to be revengeful and to get me from practicing my First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Now, folks out there, a TPO is a temporary protective order. That means that the individual is stalking you, harassing you, want to do violence to you, personally going to your house, going to your job, going to your business, and you're in fear for your life, made threats, did threats, domestic violence, that's what a TPO is for. So let's get it right. And what strikes me funny is that she told the judge that she had to install an alarm system on her house because of me. This is the same person that leave windows and doors open. And I'm the one that was telling her all along she needs to get an alarm on her house. You need to be more pro when it comes to security. She's scared of me. Oh, my goodness. But, folks, Laura Davison, get a life. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Patrick Llewellyn with Veterans in Politics. We're going to be back momentarily with Lois Tarkanian, who is the Las Vegas City Councilwoman for Ward Number 1.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Veterans in Politics International. The Veterans in Politics mission is to teach, educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and vote intelligently for a better world, and to protect ourselves from our own governments and a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those in other groups that do not have one.
There are too many homeless veterans, and more help is needed from the VA. Every veteran service organization post should adopt a local homeless veteran.
The funding of VA medical centers is inadequate, and building a VA hospital in southern Nevada is moving at a slow pace. The budget has been flatlined for too many years. The VA is too quick to deny claims and too slow to help veterans gather records in support of claims.
Local politicians ignore veterans and their issues. They perceive a lack of organization among their local veterans and that it won't hurt them at election time. Veterans too often vote party, not veteran issues. All veterans should vote in every election.
The news media give inadequate coverage to veteran issues and events. You must send letters to the editor and voice this concern.
Please contact your members of Congress and Senate and urge them to co-sponsor key legislation in supporting our veterans.
Please support Veterans in Politics. And to get more information, go to www.veteransinpolitics.com.
Americans have been fooled by politicians about illegal immigration. They make you think that if you bring up this topic, you are a racist. Did you know that America is the only country on this planet that does not enforce its federal immigration laws? For the fear of being called a racist. I am for legal immigration. I was born on the island of Jamaica, became an American citizen, served 12 years in the U.S. military, served in Desert Storm, and received a Presidential Unit Citation, National Defense Medal, and Marine Corps Commendation. Our immigration laws serve a purpose. I understand that this country was founded on immigration, but there is a wrong way and a right way. I'm here to tell you that illegal immigration is breaking our federal laws. Why don't you call me a racist? This is Steve Sanson.
Are you a business owner struggling during these economic times? Please listen up. How would you like to put your business and services in front of every resident and business in the Las Vegas Valley for less than a penny per home? Yes, that's right. I said less than 1 cent per home and business. And how would you like to have a dynamic and exciting online presence with the major search engines? How about an online video for your business and a fully optimized website with absolutely no setup fee? Hi, my name is George. If you are interested in these and other services that can make your phone ring with clients and prospects, then call me at 702-296-8394. Just call George at 702-296-8394. Thank you.
What are you doing online?
I'm checking out the belly dance class we took last week.
Where's it at?
TakeBackYourBelly.com.
That's right.
We worked our arms.
We worked our abs.
We worked so hard
and had a blast. No matter what your shape or size, come belly dance, you'll be surprised.
For class schedule and location, log on to TakeBackYourBelly.com or call 219-3151.
Well, we are back. This is Steve Sanson, Patrick Llewellyn, Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. And we have our special guest sitting live in studio, Lois Tarkanian, who is the current Las Vegas City Councilwoman, Ward Number 1. How you doing, Lois?
I'm doing fine.
Lois, first I want to say congratulations on your victory. My God,
Thank you.
You just buried your competition in some cement.
Well, it's nice to win like that.
Is that how Oscar Goodman taught you how to do it?
Oh, yeah. Well, you have a good campaign staff, and you have good people in the community. We have Lisa Mayo here.
Yes.
Who helped in the campaign, and I think that all you just blend it together. Plus, your people who get along together.
Right.
And that's good.
So, Councilwoman, could you give us a brief description of yourself? Bio.
A brief bio of myself.
I try to confuse all the guests when I say that.
All right. I'm someone who is in the older generation, and I have 4 children, 11 grandchildren. I married my husband just after graduating from college. I have been a teacher in many different positions in the classroom, in administration, and counseling and things along like that. I've been a speech pathologist and audiologist, and I have a bachelor's in education, a master's in the speech pathology and audiology, and a PhD in leadership and human behavior.
You sat on the Board of Trustees, correct?
12 years on the Board of Trustees.
Right. So how do you why do you still want to be in sit on the City Council?
Because I think I'm helping people. I really, truly enjoy helping people get through these problems that may not seem like much to others, but are a big thing in the family.
Give us an example of these problems.
Well, you might have someone who's a senior citizen who doesn't have much money, and their sewer backed up, and they're told, well, they have to pay so much money, or they have private people come in and make evaluations of how much it will cost, and we're able to work with them and help them get payments that are low and at no interest, so that it helps the people who are in need. We're able to do that. Just recently, we planted trees along Evergreen Avenue, which is just adjacent to Arizona Charlie's Casino. It's an older part of town, run down, and soon, in the next 2-3 years, those trees will be big enough to start forming a canopy and add beauty there.
Yeah, that's over by, is it Essex Park?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It's near Essex Park, and Essex Park's another example. They had no place to walk around that circle, and we added a walking circle for everybody. We added a splash pad for the little children. So in our ward, we're older. We do not have large parks that have a lot of big things in them, so we have more pocket parks, but we've been able to extend what we're doing at each of them. Somebody calls, and there are leagues that are soccer leagues that are using the Baskin Park tennis courts for kicking the ball to each other, which is ruining the courts. And so we have to go in and settle that problem, and then make sure that we refix everything that was damaged. And that's not a big thing to some people, but to the people who live around Baskin Park, it's very important.
The Veterans Assistance Center is in your district over there. Is it Alpine?
Alpine,
Indicator,
yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lois, the first time I actually met you, I was a sophomore in high school. It was Cimarron Memorial High School, and I believe you were sitting on the Board of Trustees at the time, and you did the ribbon cutting ceremony. It was the first language fair that they ever had.
That's exactly right.
And I was trying to learn Spanish at the time, so I attended that language fair, and I remember meeting you because you cut the ribbons and shook everyone's hands.
That was in my district. I had District D in Cimarron Memorial. In fact, I was there before it was built. That was when I helped in the building, the planning.
Yeah, I believe it opened around, I think I was a freshman in high school when it opened, around 91, 92.
And we were going gung-ho in helping in language, and now it's very sad. We had developed a language program, kindergarten through 5th grade, so that you would not be beginning language in the junior high, because after the age of puberty, it's extremely difficult to learn a second language.
Yeah.
So we had it all going well, and we had Texas that came and bought our program, and McGraw-Hill came and bought it and sold it. But if you go today to find the program where it originated, you won't find it. It's not there. And Bonanza High School, for example, they're dropping all of their Spanish classes, from what the parents and the youngsters there have told me.
Councilwoman, I got a 2-part question for you. The first part, what do you think about this current mayor's race? And the second part, how come you didn't throw your hat in the mayor's ring?
Steve, you stole my question.
Yeah. Well, it's a very exciting race. It's a hard race. It's going to be a tough race. And I didn't throw my hat in the race because I don't want to be mayor. I enjoy more working with the people in the communities and helping them get their individual things done. Well, not just individual things, big things too. You know, you have many things that are very important, and bringing in new business is very important. But I like to do it on a scale where I get to know people personally, and we get to work together. My idea of having good community is when we have our citizens know what resources are in the city, how they access their resources, and how they become leaders in maintaining their communities. My belief is that's the way we're going to succeed in handling many of the problems we have.
Well, Lois,
I don't need showgirls either. I don't know. I went with
you probably want Chippendales or men from down under.
I don't know. The Chippendales might have been better. I'll tell you, the mayor one time, he had the 2 showgirls, and it was St. Patrick's Day, and I got to have the leprechaun, and I didn't think that was fair.
Are you going to be at the El Dorado Day Parade tonight?
Yes. Okay. Yes, on a fire engine in the parade with some grandchildren.
Oh, very cool. Jim was ranting earlier about parking downtown for First Friday. How everybody got booted or towed.
Yes, and evidently, since that's not my ward, I didn't get all the specific information, but my understanding is that it was private property lots. It wasn't so much anything the city owned. But I know the city's looking into it to ensure that, that's worked out, because we back First Friday very much.
Yeah, it was the way it was explained to me, because I know some of the establishments in the area, that it was a private lot, but that private lot people had parked on in previous First Fridays, and then all of a sudden the owner wanted to make it an issue this time.
And so the owner calls a private company that tows cars away, and that's what happened. Although we got the calls.
Yeah. Did you guys make any money from that?
No. We're looking for all kinds of ways to make money, but unfortunately no money from that.
Lois, one of the things that I've noticed, because I watched Channel 2 a lot, and I've noticed that you tend to have a lot of 6-1 votes. And that, to me, I like that. You seem to be. Sometimes I feel as though, and I'm not attacking other council members, but it seems like lots of times that council seems to involve themselves in groupthink. Like one person thinks it's a good idea, and everybody else seems to go along with it. But it seems lots of times you're that one voice that'll point out that's good. So what is your relationship with your other council members?
Well, I think that now I have a pretty good relationship. I think when the 6-1 vote started, they were shocked that they had a vote against what they were saying. But, we had a question with Billy Walters and something he wanted to do with land we had let him use with the condition it would always be a golf course. And he wanted to change it and build houses. It was adjacent to a sewage place, and I researched that very well. I felt very confident my information was accurate, and I lost that vote 6-1. Now, right after I lost that vote, about 2 days later, a whistleblower stepped forward and gave the information out to the newspapers. So then Steve Wilson, who was on the winning side, recalled it, and they lost 7-0. It just shows you that one vote counts,
right?
And it's good to make a stand.
You know what, Councilwoman? Maybe it's a women thing. Since that council's all filled with men, you're the only woman on there.
I know.
And you're the one that's more, instead of going at things by just how men just not think about things and just react. You just sit back and kind of like observe it and think about it and maybe rehash it, and maybe it's a woman thing. What do you think?
It might be a woman thing. I sure would like another woman on the council.
Well, in due time you will.
I hope so. Well, I'm only the 4th woman on that council in 100 years. That's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years. So it could be that. And you're right. We had one of the very first votes in which I was involved was about giving a work card to someone who had been a pedophile, had been arrested and convicted on being a pedophile. And, should we let him come back? And the men felt, well, this was some time ago, and he had nothing had come up or anything. I think that was a 6-1 vote there. Yep. But, you see, being a woman, I had followed a lot of that background information on that type of crime, and I knew that it was 11 to 12 years if you had been in a rehabilitation program. The study showed that's when it seemed the individual almost made it so they were going to get caught again. And then it was across from a junior high, and it was the same age as the girls that had been involved. So, and the men couldn't see that at all. And I couldn't understand, and it might have been just
women mostly have a deeper thinking, and just to jump on that bandwagon, Councilwoman, a lot of my decision making is from women. I go to women to advise me on how to do things sometimes because I'm more of the action. Have to do it now type of deal and react right away. And women are tend mostly to sit back and just kind of think about it and try to, have different scenarios. If we do this could happen. If we do that could happen. So most of my my decision making is from women. I'm not going to tell you.
Well, I
all
just
the women.
think that's wonderful. I'll expect you to vote for women for the city council, but
he's going to vote for a woman for mayor.
Yeah. So if a woman,
I'm definitely going to vote for a woman for mayor. Just to let you know.
I bet you are. I bet you are. But research shows that because of the way girls and boys are brought up, or have been in the past, that boys are more aggressive and more thinking, this is the way we got to go, we've got to do it quickly. It's expected of them, whereas women sort of look at the whole situation more and see how it's all going to fall together.
Do you think, because there was a survey done a few years ago, that most people vote for a female judicial candidate over a male judicial candidate because they feel that women are more empathetic and compassionate and will really think things through instead of react? Do you think that's why?
Do I think that's fair?
Do you think that's why?
I think it could be why, yes. Okay. Yes. I don't think that's always the right way to vote because the man may have compassion also. And sometimes men look at facts very carefully also. So I don't know if that's the way to go. But
no, I'm not saying that was the way to go.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, do I think that? Surely, yes.
Okay.
So I got one last question for you. What is, speaking of women in politics, so to speak, what do you think about your daughter-in-law running to be the Republican State Party chair?
Well, I know she's very excited about it, and I know that she's very energetic, and she certainly is into all the issues. I'm a Democrat, so we have some strong debates at times.
Really?
Yeah. But it's okay, we don't get mad at each other or anything, but we do debate issues. And I know that she's hardworking, intelligent, and she could do a good job.
Let's switch it up a little bit since you have your family everywhere. Your husband Jerry used to be the head of the UNLV basketball coach.
Right.
What do you feel about this new coach that's coming on board? And I didn't even know, what's his name, Ron Kruger? What's his name?
Lon.
Lon.
He went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, what happened? He just got here.
Well, he was earning 1.2, and I think now he's earning 2.4 million. So.
Oh my God, $1.2 million?
He was the highest paid Nevada public employee.
You are kidding me.
1.2 million.
And then we have the head of the police and the head of the city and the head and judges, and see, we have our priorities all wrong. I think that, and teachers are not making enough money. I just my philosophy. I think that we have our priorities all wrong.
Well, I think the university would say that a lot of that money comes from private boosters that goes. All the universities would say that now. If you notice in their contract, they're paid a base salary, and then above that base salary, they're paid for public appearances, public outreach, and things like that. But you're right. I think. I sometimes say, are we insane in Nevada? Are we insane? Look what we're doing with our education right now. I'm seeing schools fall apart, and it breaks my heart. I know some of the best teachers who have left because of problems in the bureaucracy.
Right.
And so where is that priority on education? That every time I ran, I had someone with me that ran and said, I'm all for education. I put education first, and then they got up there. And then the parents would come and say, well, they said they were for education. I said, you should tape them. And next time they run, I said, then you can play the tape.
We tape them all the time.
Yeah, well, that's what you should do, though. Play the tape and show when they say they're all for city.
Yeah. Everybody's for education. Everybody's for education, and everybody is for renewable energy.
That's true.
And can I just say one
Sure.
other thing? One thing is that every time we have some committee to look at education, we'll have the powerful, the rich, the celebrities. We have all these people. Why not take the very best teachers and put them together with some of the very best principles and then make out a way.
That's
Teaching is a lot of based upon step by step what you need to do. It's also a lot based upon your empathy, your understanding of children. I don't understand why they hired a 41-year-old assistant deputy to the superintendent that had no experience in teaching, no experience in being an administrator. And I can understand bringing in private business people for things in the district that need that knowledge, but where did they put them? They put them in curriculum development. That's where you need teachers who have been there. I'm teaching this lesson on the Hopi Indians, and I find out what went wrong. I know what went wrong, and then, but that's my experience.
The superintendent, Dwayne Johnson, is his name, has been trying not to come on this show.
Yeah, he ducks us. He always offers up poor Carolyn Edwards. So
he tries not to come on this show for some reason. But with that said, Councilwoman, we'd like to thank you for coming on.
I say very much welcome to you.
And could you give us your contact information?
My contact information is at the City Hall, and that number is 229-2299. And my fax number is ltarkanian@lasvegasnevada.gov.
Your email address.
I meant email, yes. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Lois. Appreciate that. Folks, that's Lois Tarkanian, who's the current Las Vegas City Councilwoman for Ward number 1. And don't go away. We have Chris June Kiliani. I hope I pronounced that right. I think I'm always messing that up. Clark County Commissioner, District E, and candidate for Las Vegas City Mayor.
Are you a business owner struggling during these economic times? Please listen up. How would you like to put your business and services in front of every resident and business in the Las Vegas Valley for less than a penny per home? Yes, that's right. I said less than 1 cent per home and business. And how would you like to have a dynamic and exciting online presence with the major search engines? How about an online video for your business and a fully optimized website with absolutely no setup fee? Hi, my name is George. If you are interested in these and other services that can make your phone ring with clients and prospects, then call me at 702-296-8394. Just call George at 702-296-8394. Thank you.
What are you doing online? I'm checking out the belly dance class we took last week.
Where's it at?
TakeBackYourBelly.com.
That's right.
We worked our arms.
We worked our abs.
We worked so hard
and had a blast. No matter what, your shape or size, come belly dance, you'll be surprised.
For class schedule and location, log on to TakeBackYourBelly.com or call 219-3151.
Veterans in Politics takes a proactive approach to provide you, the veteran, with the political voice for which you fought and served.
Veterans in Politics is becoming the premier veteran organization of the 21st century, with political candidate interviews, insight, and endorsements.
Public speaking engagements in support of American values.
Radio shows to keep you updated on the latest in veteran and military support operations.
Providing job placement and business support.
Go to veteransinpolitics.com today and do your part in defending liberty.
While growing up, I've always asked my family, who is my father? I was told the name of a man. When I became older, I looked for this man and found him. He thought that I was his son as well, but after a DNA test, it was discovered that my family was lying to me all my life. I pressured my family to give me the real identity of my father. I then became suspicious and took my grandfather's DNA. After I buried my grandfather, 2 days later I discovered that my grandfather was in fact my biological father. I questioned myself and asked, what is my purpose on this earth? I should have never been conceived. But when I look at my 4 children, I knew that everything happens for a reason. This is Steve Sanson. Find your identity.
This is Jim Jonas asking you to listen to Veterans in Politics. Veterans in Politics is a weekly broadcast internet talk show hosted by myself, Jim Jonas, and Steve Sanson, president of Veterans in Politics Incorporated, that airs every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. at www.vegasallnetradio.com. Veterans in Politics' sole purpose is to teach, educate, and inform veterans on issues and the candidates that will affect them. Too many politicians say they support veterans and their issues, but their actions tell a different story. Here at Veterans in Politics, we will expose these politicians by giving them a chance to come in and explain their actions to veterans so veterans can truly make informed decisions. Listen every Saturday to stay informed and to hold politicians accountable for their votes.
Well, folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, Patrick Llewellyn, and we have live in studio Chris June Kiliani, Clark County Commissioner, District E, and candidate for Las Vegas City Mayor. And I know you folks going to want to call in, so the number is 702-998-7532. Once again, 702-998-7532. Chris G., how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. It's a great day.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Could you give us a little bio about yourself?
Sure. I was born in Italy. My parents were actually visiting my grandparents.
Are you related to The Godfather?
No.
Okay.
I was born in Tuscany area, and Lucca, actually one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, in my opinion. But I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I grew up in Chicago. My dad actually met my mother when he got out of the Korean War. She was waitressing for his cousin in a little restaurant. And they fell in love and settled in Chicago. And then at that time, he traveled by boat. And so my nonna said, come on over later. And that's how I wound up being born there. But I have to say, my grandfather, my dad's side, fought in World War I. Not 2, but 1 in the Army. My dad was in the Army. And I have 2 brother-in-laws that were Air Force pilots, one who fought in the Gulf War. So we respect our veterans.
No Marines?
No, sorry.
You're making Patrick over there happy.
Go Army.
I know, that's go Army. He's like, oh, yeah. But anyway, thanks for having me in this afternoon. So that's just a little bit. I spent 16 years in the legislature. I'm a special education middle school teacher. So that prepares me for just about anything in life.
Well, I've been following you around a little bit, and you're always prepared. I've always see you just tackle the issues right up front, and my hat goes off to you.
Thank you very much. I practice what I preach as a teacher. I have to do my homework.
I don't see you mincing words too much. You go right. You know how some people just glorify it and try to get away from the question. You just go right after the question. And for that,
I think out of respect, you have to answer the questions, even if people don't agree with you.
Right.
You need to be specific, and if you don't know, that's okay to say someone as well.
Go ahead, Jim.
So, Christy, first question. Do you think the reason why your opponent seems to be dodging you in debates is for the simple fact that she's just running what many political strategists would consider a front runner campaign, where they just want to avoid an uncomfortable situation where she might say something she shouldn't, so then it would just keep coming back at her? Or it's a little bit easier if she just has her big signs up and runs a few commercials and...
I think to extent I'm running against a name rather than an individual, and so it's easier to just not have to answer any questions because then you're not on the record with anything. But I have a 20-year history. 16 years in the legislature, 4 years on the county commission, just got elected, and I stand by my record. I won't apologize for it. I think the public, I'm very transparent. They can go on my website. They can see what I voted for and didn't vote for. And I think that out of honor, you have to tell people who you are and what you stand for. Even, as I said, even if they don't agree with me on everything, they know that I will listen to them. They know that I'll come to their doors. I knocked on your door the other day. That was too funny. And that I value their input. And that if I'm wrong, I will admit when I'm wrong.
Chris, do you remember first meeting me?
Oh, my gosh, Steve, that was probably 2005. In
Carson City at the Legislative Building. I remember when I first met you for the first time. And we took a few photos, and I kind of liked you right off because you got this nice smile about you.
Oh, thank you.
But people say that Chris G. is for higher taxes. And I said to them, what does that have anything to do with the mayor's race? Chris G. can't raise taxes even if she wanted to. So if she's for higher taxes, okay. But she can't raise them. What you have to say to those folks?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not a home rule state, and there are areas, not just taxing, but there are programs and policies that we should be empowered to do as a county commissioner or even as a city council or as the mayor. Unfortunately, we don't have that rule unless the legislature grants that, so we can't raise taxes. The sad part is those closest to something should be most accountable. And therefore, if the local governments had that ability, you go to the voters, you talk with them, you hold public hearings, and you make a decision. The sad part is the only thing we can raise are fees, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to fee businesses to death. Right now is when we should be getting to the one fee, one form that I've been talking about for your general business licenses. So I think people, in 2003, I did vote for the tax increase. I voted with 2/3 vote. I voted, and a Republican governor signed it into law. Republicans on both houses supported the legislation, and you know what? It was the right thing to do. We did it so we didn't shut down our schools. We did it so we made sure that seniors could live in dignity in their own homes. We made sure that the veterans rental program still was in place, the property tax exemption. All of those things matter to people. And now with the downturn in the economy again, those things matter to people as well. And so the legislature has a responsibility to act on that. I supported it.
Before we go into Patrick or Jim, I got a 1-2-part question
Okay.
I need to ask you. The first part about it is why do you want to be a mayor of the city of Las Vegas when you sit in the most powerful seat in the state? I mean, being a Clark County commissioner is the most powerful seat in the state. I mean, your budget is so huge. And the second part about it, rumor says that you're running in this race because Commissioner Larry Brown did not vote for you to be chief or the head of the Clark County Commissioners.
The commission is powerful, but power is about, in my mind, is about bringing about good. You can use power for the wrong reasons, and you can use power for the good reasons. We do have a larger budget than the state of Nevada. That is absolutely true. But the power came because people, I think elected officials in the past, gave up their authority, their votes to some development communities, some folks that wielded more clout than the average voter, and I think that that's wrong. As to why I'm running for mayor, I want to build this. I don't need this job, and it has Larry Brown is a good, wonderful colleague, and in fact, he's endorsed me. So people can spread all the rumors, but I always taught my students, don't believe in rumors. It's always facts that speak for themselves. But that said, I just got reelected, as you pointed out. I had constituents and my own assembly person come to me and say, you know what, you got to look at this field here. There's no one with your experience, your passion, your energy, and the willingness to get in and roll up your sleeves and get something done. It's a different time. The current mayor did a good job when Vegas was growing, and yet we didn't really plan for the downturn, and that's a sad part, but that's across the board. That isn't just one individual. The difference is now we have families that live here. We have children. We have the most diverse community, I think, in the United States, and we don't applaud that. We don't embrace it. We tend to ignore and just focus on the Strip. I mean, we need to protect the Strip and make sure entertainment is still there, and we're the entertainment capital of the world. But it's about building a community and neighborhood at a time, and that's why I decided to run. I'm known for getting things done. I drive my own. Next weekend, I'm doing a neighborhood pride zone. Come on down. I'm taking my pickup truck, my own rake, my weed whackers, and we're going to go out and clean up neighborhoods. And that's part of what I'm going to be as a mayor, the people's mayor.
So, Christy, at an event last Saturday that was held in the home of my assemblyman, Harvey Mumford, that I have a lot of respect for. Yes. We belong to different parties, but we get along very well. He stated that there were problems that he had and some of his constituents had with the current administration. So can you give me 2 examples of that and what Mayor Chris G. would do differently?
I think what Harvey was talking about, which was reprehensible to many of us, is what I call the redlining of the west side of Las Vegas. When NDOT was redoing its lines for redrawing the whole construction for the flyway, they were asked by the city. I mean, everybody still fingerprint points, but I went back and researched it. They were asked by the city to close that off. That then resegregated a needy neighborhood that had been neglected. So I think that's probably what Assemblyman Munford Harvey was talking about. That was the 5th Street or the F Street closure. That said, I think the other thing that Harvey's talking about is what I'm talking about is in Lois's district, Ward 1, Ward 3, Ward 5. My Councilman Reese has done a really good job of really trying to promote neighborhood pride. The problem is none of the funding has come into those core areas. If you're going to build a downtown, a strong, vibrant downtown, you need strong, vibrant neighborhoods that surround it. Right. So it means not having people walled off, but actually included as part of the city, included in part of the redevelopment. And another issue that really, not just within the African American community, but the Latino community, is in redevelopment projects, they actually have a percentage of individuals that should be trained and hired from that neighborhood so that they're celebrating and they're participating in that new growth that has never happened. And so those are the areas that I will change. I mean, F Street will be open. Senator Horsford did pass legislation last session to require that had to be reopened. But part of what we have to look at is how do we embrace everybody? And that's the diversity that I've been talking about. I've suggested that, well, I'm not alone, but I did sponsor one of the first film incentive laws probably 10 years ago to try to get some incentives. Luckily, hopefully the legislature will pass one this year. If we could get private sector to come in and do a private film production studio, I've suggested it should be maybe on the old Moulin Rouge side or on the west side, so that you're looking at, because there's a lot of nonprofit theater groups in that community. Yeah. You could then grow a business. You could grow all the arts and culture component forward into the city rather than freezing people out. That's part one. Part two, we still have neighborhoods of our older places that you want communities to be able to interconnect. And you don't even have sidewalks. You don't even have lights. You don't even have bike paths. Kids can't get to school safely. We have to rethink how we connect everybody together. And so as we look at redevelopment, part of what I want to do is, they've got maps and they've got sections laid out, and I applaud the city for working towards that, but I don't think we've really brought the expertise in from the African American community, from the Latino community, from the Vietnamese, the Thai, the Chinese, the Japanese, the wonderful diversity that's out there, and said, let's sit down and take a look at this district. What can we do in redevelopment? How do we grow our small businesses? How do we embrace neighborhoods? Do we have a complete street program? Should we have some one-ways? I'm told that I'm researching in Manhattan and in Seattle. They've reconfigured how they do their bike lanes. They actually do their bike paths. It's sidewalk, bike path, parking. Okay. So you're not forced into traffic as a bicyclist. And we're trying to do safe routes to school. So that should be a component. Well, I found out that there's public works directors that get together. I have to go make an appeal to ask them to change their policy. And I'm going to do that. I'll do that as an elected official, but I stumbled on that. I didn't even know there was a committee that I had to go to ask them to change the policy, to explore doing the striping differently. Right. So we just have to look differently. But the other thing we should bring to, along with the diversity, is bring the university. We have the urban land. You have our School of Architecture. You have the School of Landscape Design. You have the sustainability. You have the green. Bring them to the table. And with the students, with the folks that are the small business, let's reinvent the redevelopment. Let's take a step back now and say, has this really been working? Are there fees that should be waived? I've suggested a landmark designation in the older areas where you bring up your building code, your fire code, so that it's safe, but maybe not to the highest level, so that it doesn't cost you as much, and you can actually get some of those older buildings open and used for retail or for dance clubs. We need things for kids. I'd love to find somebody to come back and do another Wet and Wild or an Adventureland or something. And supposedly there's a water park possibly coming in, but it'll be in the Northwest Valley, and that's wonderful, but we still need something in the core too. And so those are the types of things that I want to work on.
Got a lot of energy. I like that.
I
like it because I'm in it, because that is I'm in Ward 5.
Exactly.
I'm in Ward 5, and one of the things that I brought up to Commissioner Brown during the primary was, I think it's great that they're bringing in Zappos, and then we got this great new Metro police station on the corner of Alta and Martin Luther King. But I'm like, what are we going to do with the traffic?
Correct.
Because that intersection is not going to support that building.
And that was my argument in the first place. The Metroplex had been reserved in the property in front of the government building. We had actually held that for Keller as well as for Bill Young. For some reason, they decided, and we own the land free and clear. It would have been cheaper for the public, and I argued against the original building of that on that property because it was now leased property, and you should never go into government with long-term leases because you're using the taxpayers' dollars that you may never get your bang for your buck, and then somebody else comes down the road and they never have paid what you had agreed to. Right. Look at golf courses and things along those lines that they've done in this town. And the traffic issue. And the neighborhood wanted the police station nearby, but I kept saying, watch out, Dan, watch out for what you're asking for, because you're going to have that entire 2 lanes going either direction on Bonneville is just not going to make the flow. And the sad part is, too, we lost our local Costco. It went to a business Costco. I'm still upset about that. I mean, Lois and I were sending letters to them. But those are things that you have to plan out better. And that was part, just because you can doesn't mean you always should. Right. And so that's an unfortunate part that nobody has dealt with. You have that many thousands of police officers coming into work. It'll be wonderful for people thinking it's safer. It's going to be a dynamic building, and it's built as a Class B, which is a good thing. At least we plan, and the sheriff, I'll give him compliments for that. They plan so that if down the road they don't need one section, it's the standard type of building that you can use for office space. So it's available then to lease out and or sell to others. But it's a long-term debt, unfortunately.
You mentioned earlier about the sidewalk bike path parking. I could just see somebody opening up their door when
exactly. But here's what I was told that they found: you'd rather get hit by a door than by a car if you're on a bike.
Yeah, that's true.
And not every street would feed, but we've built our streets too wide.
How would you stop the cars from parking into the bike lane?
It's an education piece, and you do stripe it that way. You do signage that way. You do the bumples, what I call the bumples down. Right. There's ways to detour traffic. It's no different. It's and then it's a natural traffic calming device, because what we've been doing in the city, I'll give them compliments on that. They started striping like Oakey and St. Louis and some of those streets, and it naturally slows people down, even if a car's not parked there. And it's called the traffic calming, just like roundabouts. We need roundabouts on our side of town as well, because you can't speed humps. They make people psychologically think they work. They're on my street. They were there before I moved in. They don't. People speed 45 miles an hour over the doggone thing. They don't care. So you have to look at different ways to be able to narrow your speeders. We built our streets way too wide in many instances. If you look at Hollywood, Hualapai, some of those, they're just 180. They're collector streets. It's like insane how big
the intersections in this town are absolutely. I mean, if you look at some of your more dangerous intersections, I think it's ranked like number 5 in the country. Sahara and Decatur.
That's the worst.
Outrageous.
Yeah, the number of deaths, absolutely unfortunate.
Rumor says, Commissioner, that you mentioned earlier that you're running against a name.
Mm-hmm.
And rumor says that, in fact, we asked Carolyn Goodman last week if this was Oscar Goodman's 4th term. And she basically said that she wants to finish up what Oscar has done as projects. Any of his projects you would like to see come to fruition or not?
Oh, the projects aren't just Oscars, with no disrespect. They belong to the whole city council and to the entire community as far as that's concerned. I'm the one who actually got the funding stream so they could build the Performing Arts Center. So I'm very proud of that project, and I will take credit for that one. But I don't think it's about credit. It's about how you enhance the culture and the arts and the opportunities in this community. I think Tony Shea's program with Zappos will bring a revitalization, but you need a critical mass, and that's what I'm talking about, is we need to bring Tony and his people in. You need to bring the university, and we need to replan all of that so it's an integrated program rather than what I call kind of a plop, plop, fizz, fizz approach. And that's not a criticism. It's more an observation. And that's the difference. I have substance. I have energy. I can walk in day one and know what's going on. And I don't believe that my opponent has any of those capabilities.
What about those 2 projects that are still up? The Mob Museum being one, and the brand new City Hall. How do you feel about those 2?
Well, I have to check. Somebody just emailed me that the City Hall had to be scaled back, and I'm not sure that I read anything about that part of it. The long-term financing is dicey, is what I'm told. On the Mob Museum, they use redevelopment dollars, $40 to $60 million to build that. It's going to be built. It is what it is. Hopefully it's successful. I think I might have thought of something different, because being Italian, not everybody is in a mob. But sometimes you can make lemonade or lemon out of lemonade. So we'll work on that part.
Are you going to be that type of mayor that's interested in all the wards, or
yes.
are you just going to focus your attention mainly on downtown?
All the wards, because I have a working relationship with all of the city council people and the commissioners. I probably, as an assemblywoman, appeared at City Hall more often than any other elected official on behalf of my constituents. So we work hand in glove. Councilman Reese and I, we would do neighborhood cleanups, we'd paint sidewalks, we'd do all of that. that together. So I would like to be the mayor that works alongside the city council people. So because then it's you're speaking with one voice, you're speaking as a community, and that's part of what we need to do is build a community, a neighborhood at a time. That's what I plan on doing.
So, Christy, we only got a couple minutes. I'm going to ask you a question. Try to keep it yes or no if you can. Do you think that Caroline Goodman is a lazy campaigner?
No, I don't. I don't know what kind. I haven't crossed paths with her on the field, on the turf, so she will have to speak for that. They've been mailing. They've done TV. They have paid walkers. I'm doing volunteers, and so maybe that's the difference. And I walk myself.
You've actually knocked on her door.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, she brought.
That's how I first met Oscar and Carolyn. Actually, was going door to door as a state assemblywoman. They were gracious enough, and they invited me into their library and it's a beautiful room. And they asked me a lot of good questions. And several years later, when I knocked again, I think Oscar mentioned, he says, someday I might run for mayor. I said, well, then you need to do what I do, which is go out and actually talk with people and listen with people. And I think that's what makes me different as a candidate.
Well, that answered my question.
Okay.
Patrick, you don't have any more questions?
One question. Any ideas for implementing green energy technologies?
Absolutely. I talked with the actually yesterday at the School of Engineering at UNLV. They just did awards for recognizing new engineering in the field, and several of them had to do with photovoltaic, recapturing different. I wrote that law, actually, and I wrote the green building law before I left Carson City. But what we really ought to be doing is a complete Wi-Fi interconnectivity in not only, first take your downtown core and then go to the northwest. You've got various little pockets of different centers where you can actually, that'll help the businesses and the residents in those areas. We should be doing rooftop. I actually have a demonstration project that's going to be done for photovoltaic. We're doing energy audits both in the county. The city is doing that as well. We have to look at recycling in a better way, but not giving Republic, with no disrespect, don't take away the trash. Let's talk about how we do business better. But no matter what, we should be looking at the commodity that you can make out of that. Let's, instead of shipping plastics to China, let's figure out if we can manufacture a product here. So those are the types of things that I plan on putting together. I'm going to have a mayor's council on small business. To me, that's still the backbone of this country. And how do we help them expand? They've been here, so while you're recruiting people from out of state, we really need to promote our small business factor. As well.
I live in Ward 6, Northwest, and we want that water park because we are tired of driving all the way into Las Vegas or into central Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
With all that gas and all that time. The price of gas went up.
That's right.
We want stuff around our area, Commissioner. So what are you going to do about that?
We need it in all our areas, and I think there's actually a project.
We're further out than any of the
You
wards.
are, and one of the developer, actually one of the people that was just in this previous hearing has a developer that's looking at bringing in a water park into your area, as a matter of fact. We need one in each and every single ward as far as that's concerned. There needs to be places for families and kids to have to play. Part of it is rebuilding our older schools, but as we rebuild schools and or build new ones, let's use capital dollars that the city and county have, match it with the school district funding, and put in rec centers and swimming pools. I grew up in Chicago. We had a local public swimming pool. The last pool that has been built is in Hollywood, and it will open next year on Hollywood. And that's been 10 years in the making.
Commissioner, we'd like to thank you for coming on our program.
Much.
Could you give us your contact info?
Chris June Kiliani. My cell is 521-1663. It's always been published. And my office and headquarters is 834-3333. And I'd love to have your support. Thank you very much.
That's Chris June Kiliani, who's the Clark County Commissioner, District E, and a candidate for Las Vegas City Mayor. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas, and Patrick Llewellyn with Veterans in Politics. Until next week, I believe we have a candidate running for Las Vegas City Municipal Court Judge, Sonny Bonaventura. So people tune in for that, and there should be another guest shortly with him as well. Thank you so much.